Dennis Christian. It's May the 10th, 2013. I'm here on East Hump. It's 23 feet on the top. Got a marker right on it, and I'm about 10 to 12 yards from the marker. I was going to demonstrate Mepps technique. So what I do is I throw it out there, about a medium cast. I got my line is free spooling. I can either watch my line or just rest my thumb on the spool. When the spool stops, I know it's on the bottom. Okay, it's on the bottom. I'm going to take up my slack, point the rod at the line, crank it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'm going to stop. I didn't get a bite. Let me go back to bottom. That's on the bottom. Free spooling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No bite again. Free spooling. I released it. It's free spooling. Take up my slack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the bottom. There's one right there. About the third turn coming up. Nice white bass, probably about a 13-incher. I'm gonna see if I can get another one here. It's free falling to the bottom. I'm resting my thumb on the spool, watching my line. I'm using a number 4 Mepps right now. It's on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop. Release my button. I'm free falling back to the bottom. Back on the bottom. Take up my slack. 1, 2, 3, 4. Felt like one was nibbling at it. Released. Going back to the bottom. Take up my slack. There he is. Oop, he hit it. And he came off. Go back to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. There he is. Another nice white. Maybe slightly bigger than the other one. That's probably about 14. Maybe 15 inches. Do it again, right back out there. Just an easy cast. Letting it free spool to the bottom. I keep my thumb resting on it so I don't backlash. And like I say, when it stops spinning, if I'm looking away, I can still know that I've reached the bottom, or I can just watch the line on the bottom. Take up my slack. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm using a 6-to-1 Shimano Curado reel. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me go back to the bottom. I didn't get a bite. Take up my slack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Felt one messing with it right there as I got close to the boat. Take up my slack. 1, 2, 3, 4. He didn't take it that time. They've been taking it close to the bottom. Sometimes you can crank it 7 or 8 turns before they catch it, but most of the time it's within the first 3 to 5 turns on my reel, which is a 6-to-1. All right, I'm on, still going. I'm on the bottom. Take up my slack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For some reason, when you point the rod, I'm going to take up my slack. 1, 2, 3, 4. There he is. When you point the rod at it, at the line, you can feel the strike because it's not always a hard strike. The line just gets heavier all of a sudden. You can definitely feel it, but it's easier to feel when you point the rod at the line. All right, let's try it again. So 4 casts on the camera, 3 fish. I'd caught about 5 before I started filming. This guy out here, it's about 10:30 in the morning. Point the rod at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. Let it go back to the bottom. Still going. I'm on the bottom. Take up my slack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Release. Let it go back to the bottom. On the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it go back to the bottom. I hit the release. It's going back to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. There he is. Oop! He came off. He hit on the 4th crank. It was on for a second. There he is. He followed it up that time. It was up to about the 6th crank. One thing about the number 4 Mepps, plain aglia, silver, but the number 4 is heavy enough with my, I've got 12-pound fluorocarbon line on here, which is a small, pretty small diameter line. It sinks plenty fast enough. With a number 2 or number 3, I add a weight about that far up the line, mash on weight, take up my slack. 1, 2, there you go. When I fish mainly for white bass. Hybrids I catch are running, I catch a few running in with a white bass. Sometimes, you get into a school of hybrids and catch quite a few, but most of the time it's like 1 to 3, something like that, 1 to 4, 1 to 5 maybe. Got 5 and 6 casts. We're going to go again. Let it go down to the bottom. Feeling it with my thumb, watching it with my eyes. On the bottom, take up my slack, point the rod down. There he is on the 2nd cast. Looks like they're getting thicker down there. One thing I like about this is that there, a quick release. Got him out halfway out of the water and he fell off. What was I going to say? Oh, with a Mepps, they do not hit the bait on the fall. Usually you catch them when you retrieve it. So you've got tension on the line and you can feel them hitting the bait. As opposed to when they hit it on the fall, it's hard to keep tension on the line. And you don't feel the strike as often. I mean, when you raise it back up, you feel it, and maybe if you're able to keep some tension instead of just letting it go slack when you let it fall. You can feel it, but with the Mepps, definitely they hit it, cranking it up, so you definitely have tension on the line. There he is. So we're here catching one every cast. That's what fishing with a Mepps spinner is. I'm not saying you couldn't sit here and catch one every cast with a slab, but I've found that I can do better much more consistently with the Mepps spinner once you learn how to do it. And some of you may have read my article. It's on the Mepps website under fishing articles. It explains how I discovered the technique. And some of you know that Ray Sasser, the Dallas Morning News outdoors sports writer, came and fished with me one time at my invitation and saw what I did and wrote an article about the Mepps technique. It was falling, still falling, and he hit it and gave me a little bit of a backlash. As I was free spooling. There we go. I think I threw it in the wrong direction, over in the front of the boat. There's a fish though. There he is. Okay, that's the Mepps technique. Only other thing I haven't shared is that the rod I use is an inexpensive Shakespeare Durango, 5 feet 6 inches, medium action. I don't buy expensive rods because I usually break them within, stepping on them or something happens, and I don't want. And this works great. I mean, there's no reason to pay a lot when these rods work great. So just about the right action. I don't like too long a rod. For one thing, if you're fishing in this boat, you got somebody in the front. A 7-foot rod will put it right in his face. I'm casting behind me, so. But I don't need to. This 5 foot 6 inch rod works great. Hope this helps you, y'all. So I'm gonna turn it off. Now I'm going to record this section here. I'm pointing straight towards Clear Creek Bridge, looking east. Here's the shoreline here. There's somebody in a boat right over there. You might recognize some of this shoreline if you're familiar with the lake. See if I can zoom in. There's that boat. There's the entrance to the Pinnacle Club Marina right over in there. And there we go. Try to keep this steady as I can. Yeah, and there's the bridge down there. There's my marker right there. Like I say, it's about 10 yards away from the boat. I'm looking south now, panning around. There's a point right there that splits Clear Creek and Caney Creek. Going further to the right, there's Pitt's Point with that smokestack right over the top of it. Further to the right, there's the northwest edge of Star Harbor. Going around this way further now to the west, there's the north shoreline of Clear Creek right there, and then on beyond is the west side of the lake, or just sort of across from Crappie Island, maybe a little bit south. That's where we are.